The rain came without warning that evening, not the gentle, pleasant kind, but a sudden downpour that carried with it a biting, bone-chilling cold. It was as if the heavens had torn open, unleashing a storm meant to wash away the warmth of the earth. My elder brother, Abgar, had been cycling home from the market. The road was muddy, slippery, and flanked by endless fields of swaying paddy. Now bending under the weight of the heavy rain, he pushed harder on the pedals, but the water blurred his vision. Lightning tore across the sky in jagged lines, and thunder shook the ground beneath his wheels. He needed shelter, and fast, through the sheets of rain, he spotted the large, looming shape of a tamarind tree. Its thick branches spread wide like a giant umbrella, its dark leaves trembling with each gust of wind. He didn't think twice. He stopped the cycle and took cover under it. It was then that he remembered. This was the Tamarind Tree Junction, a place whispered about in our village for decades, a place avoided after sunset, a place where people had seen things. But in that moment, soaked to the skin, trembling from the cold, Abgar didn't care. He leaned the bicycle against the tree and stood under its shadow, watching the rain splash against the muddy road. The air smelled of wet earth and something else, something faint, metallic. He tried to distract himself, watching the droplets bouncing on puddles, but then a sound cut through the storm. Not thunder, not wind. A voice that was soft at first, almost blending with the rain, but it was there. A hollow, distant, whisper-like murmur that seemed to curl around the tree and seep into his ears. He froze. For years, villagers had spoken of strange happenings here. People claimed to have heard footsteps following them, seen pale faces peeking from behind the tree, smelled burning incense in the dead of night. Some had even said they saw a little girl standing at the junction, drenched in rain, asking for help only for her to vanish when approached. Most of us dismissed these as stories told to scare children, but my brother, standing there in the storm, could no longer laugh them off, because the voice was getting closer, and it was calling his name. He turned to leave, but the road was empty. Only the rain, the swaying branches, and the distant rumble of thunder. Still, his heart pounded, as though someone was right behind him. Then lightning struck, not far, maybe only a few 100 feet away. The blinding white flash lit up everything. For that split second, he saw something, a shadow, tall, still standing, just beyond the tree. When the darkness returned, the shadow was gone. That night, after making it home, he told Karim, his close friend, about what he had experienced. Karim's face paled. "Abgar, you shouldn't have stayed under that tree," he whispered. "You know the stories. That tree has been cursed since before our fathers were born." And then Karim told him what the elders had always said about the old graveyard nearby, about the bodies buried under the tree's roots, about the tamarind tree being a home to restless spirits. "If you keep going there alone," Karim warned, "one day it won't let you leave." 4 weeks after that, nothing strange happened, until the dreams began. At first, they were just uneasy visions of the muddy road, the trees swaying in the wind, the distant rumble of thunder. But soon, the dreams became more vivid. He began to see a figure in them, tall, with an outline, blurred like smoke, its head tilted unnaturally to one side. Sometimes, it whispered. Sometimes, it only stared. And sometimes, it smiled. Frightened, Abgar and Karim went to the mosque and sought out Imam Sahib, the local religious teacher. The Imam listened carefully, stroking his beard, before finally speaking. "What follows you is not a man," he said gravely. "It is a Jinn, a dangerous one. But your prayers, your faith, they have protected you so far." He then reached into a small wooden box and took out a talisman, a small cloth pouch tied with a red thread. "Keep this with you at all times," the Imam instructed. "If you cross a bridge, or if the earth shakes, it will lose its power. Should that happen, Come to me at once for a new one. Do you understand? They nodded, clutching the talismans tightly. For a while, peace returned. The dreams stopped. The road by the tamarind tree felt less threatening, until one night, the string of Abgar's talisman snapped. It wasn't a big tear, just a small break. He planned to fix it the next day. But that night, he forgot to take it with him, and that was the night the Jinn returned. The dream began with darkness, a suffocating heavy darkness that felt alive. Then, from the shadows, the figure emerged, closer than ever before. Its face was no longer blurred. It was pale, almost gray, with deep sunken eyes that glowed faintly. Its lips stretched into a grin far too wide for a human face. And then, it spoke. Do you remember my words? The voice was low, echoing as though it came from a deep cave. Bring me to tender coconuts, and I will give you a golden boat. Dig beneath the tamarind tree, and you will find it. The figure leaned closer, its cold breath brushing against his ear. If you refuse, I will take something else instead. That was only the beginning of the horror. Abgar woke up, gasping for breath. His clothes were damp with sweat, his hands trembling as if he had been running for hours. The dream, no, it hadn't felt like a dream, was still fresh in his mind. The voice, the cold breath, the promise of a golden boat, and the unspoken threat. He tried to shake it off, telling himself it was nothing more than his imagination. But when he glanced toward the small wooden table near his bed, his heart stopped. The broken talisman, which he had left there earlier, was gone. He searched everywhere, under the bed, on the floor, even in his pockets. Nothing. The small cloth pouch had vanished without a trace. The next morning, Karim arrived to find him pale and exhausted. You look terrible, Karim said, worried. What happened? Abgar hesitated, then told him everything. The dream, the voice, the missing talisman. Karim's face darkened. We have to go back to the Imam now. When they reached the mosque, Imam Sahib listened in silence. His usually calm expression tightened. This is not good, he finally said. Losing the talisman is bad enough, but if it vanished on its own, it means the spirit is no longer keeping its distance. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. And if it asked you for something, it means it wants to bind you to an agreement. That is far more dangerous than you think. Abgar shivered. It said it wanted to tender coconuts, and in return, it would give me a golden boat. The Imam's eyes narrowed. Do not take anything from it. Do not give it anything. These are tricks. Once you agree, it gains power over you. He prepared another talisman, this time stronger, with black thread, instead of red. Keep this close, and whatever you do, do not pass by that tamarind tree alone. For several days Abgar followed the Imam's advice. He avoided the junction after dark, stayed with Karim when possible, and kept the new talisman close. But then, it began visiting him when he was awake. It started small, a faint rustle behind him when there was no wind. The feeling of being watched, even in crowded places. Shadows that seemed to move just a fraction too slowly, as if reluctant to vanish. One afternoon, as he was returning from the market, he passed by a narrow lane and froze. Standing at the far end was the shadowy figure from his dreams. Only this time, it was smiling. Its lips moved, but no sound came out. Instead, the words seemed to echo directly in his head. The coconuts. Bring them to me. Abgar stumbled back, his heart racing, but when he blinked, it was gone. That night, he stayed at Karim's house. They locked every door and window, leaving a small lamp burning in the corner. Around midnight, Abgar awoke to a strange sound, a slow, deliberate tapping. Tap. Pause. Tap. It was coming from the window. He sat up, trying not to breathe too loudly. The tapping continued, now joined by a faint scratching, as though something long and sharp was dragging across the glass. Karim stirred awake. Do you hear that? He whispered. Before Abgar could answer, the scratching stopped. Then, a low, rasping voice seeped through the window. "I am waiting." They didn't sleep the rest of the night. The following evening, things grew worse. Kareem's younger sister ran into the room, crying. She said she had seen a tall, thin man standing by the well. His head bent so far to the side, it looked broken. He had been watching the house, unmoving, for several minutes before vanishing into thin air. By now, Kareem was convinced this was no longer about just the tree. The Jinn had attached itself to Abgar, and was slowly extending its presence to anyone close to him. The final straw came 2 nights later. Abgar woke again to find himself outside, standing barefoot on the muddy path near the Tamarind Tree junction. His last memory was lying in bed, yet here he was, shivering under the cold moonlight. The Tamarind Tree loomed ahead, its branches swaying though there was no wind, and beneath it, a hole in the ground, freshly dug. Inside something glinted a curved golden shape. The boat.abgar, single quotes-esque breath caught in his throat. The voice returned, this time louder, clearer, as if the figure was right beside him. "Take it, it is yours. All I ask is 2 coconuts." Or the voice trailed off into a low, inhuman growl. Abgar turned to run, but found himself faced with the shadow. Its eyes burned like hot coals, its smile impossibly wide, and in that moment, he knew. It didn't matter if he agreed or not, it had already chosen him.